I've chosen the deer as my spirit animal because I normally put a lot of deers in my snow paintings, and my snow paintings are probably one of the more popular subjects that I do. And I can relate to the deer since the deer is not afraid of the forest, nor am I. I grew up in the woods, not literally, but they were always close to it wherever I lived, and I enjoyed communing with nature. And I've done some sketches. I've not done my paintings yet, but I'm constantly thinking about them, and I'm looking forward to my journey.
So, ma'am, this particular piece of artwork, I'm so happy that you brought it. You did quite a while ago, and you have the original, which is fabulous. I just love it. But tell me about it. When you were putting it together, it's pretty interesting what you did. I know your story.
Well, I learned as a purist in California and worked that way for 10 years, and then I moved back from Grass Valley to the Memphis area.
Oh.
And people back there were doing really far out things, and one of the techniques was pressing, and I did that by putting pretty thick paint on this surface and then taking a plain board, this is watercolor board, and pressing it against that, and it gave me some of the texture.
Wow.
And I really didn't know what I was going to do until I saw the image that was left by the pressing, and then it went from there. So I did do it a long time ago, but it's been a favorite, and I decided to bring it today.
Great, got you into the zone. And your deer is back in there.
Yeah, I had to have my deer. He really is the main subject of the painting, even though the tree's overpowering, but it was just a perfect place to put him.
It is, and deer are a part of the forest. I mean, you put him right in there where he should be. He's just a part of the forest. So I'm going to pull up another one of yours because you have some really nice pieces, and the deer are in there, and I like them so much because deer and forest just go together, don't they? Here we go. How's that one?
Oops, I'm sorry.
There you go. So tell us about this one and how you felt about it when you did it.
Well, I actually saw a photograph at the fair that was similar to this, and I asked the photographer if I could take the photograph, and I said, you won't recognize it when I do a painting from it, but I like that layout. As a matter of fact, I got an email from him today. I sent him a note card.
Oh, great.
And he just loved it, but it's quite different. This was a place up in the High Sierras near Deer Lake. Interesting, Deer Lake.
Yeah.
And the background was quite different. And well, everything's different. And it had no deer in it, so I had to put them in. But that was the first one of the series that I began with for the ArtClan.
That's wonderful.
And so I enjoyed painting it.
Good feeling, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you kind of get into that zone. This one, I think, is turning out to be my favorite.
It's interesting because
A lot of
I kind
people
of
saying
struggled with this. This was a pressing that didn't quite work out, and I'm very frugal, so I didn't want to waste a watercolor board. And so I just tried to make it work.
Well, it looks pretty good to me. And the deer there, they're a part of the forest. They're so connected. You really created that connection, that feeling. When you're painting these and you're thinking about the deer, do you know where they're going to be, or do they just wander in and you find a spot?
I kind of think about where they're going to be before I do them. And I'll talk about that when you show the next painting.
Oh, great.
But,
okay.
I drew him and kind of did a pressing around it, and the pressing just didn't work too well. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And this one, I do a lot of waterfalls when I demonstrate for clubs, etc. And I had actually done that more or less. You know how when you demonstrate,
Yes.
you do like 3/4 of it, and you don't have time to finish it. So I just said, I believe I'll just put a deer up there on the hills. And so he was definitely an afterthought, but I'm really into deers these days, and I have one more I have in mind that I'm excited about doing.
Very good. They kind of come in and out, you know, they just appear. Yesterday when we were driving home, a couple of the gals noticed that there were deer. I almost ran over them. They were all waiting to cross the road. But they just came out of a forest like this over by Colfax, and they just were there. And that's kind of, I like the way they disappear into the forest. They're part of it. It's nice. Thank you so much. That's terrific. Thank you.